On the new TOEFL 2026 speaking interview, a lot of students worry about the same thing. What happens when the questions stop being about my daily life and suddenly become about the future or society? In my first video and my second video, I show how the interview questions are built from simple patterns and how limited endings like efficiency, health, and quality of life control where your answer has to land. In my second video, I show you how to use a systematic way to fill the 45 seconds. So this is the third video. I'm Lee. I've taught TOEFL speaking for the past 8 years, and I've taken the new 2006 TOEFL myself a couple of days ago and have used several paid ETS practice tests with my students. After that first and second video, one viewer left a long, thoughtful comment. He or she said, in short, your method works for question 1 and 2, but question 3 and 4 are more about society and the future, so you can't just use personal style examples. You need more abstract arguments. That is a valid concern, and it's exactly what many students are quietly worried about. So in this video, I want to show you what question 3 and 4 usually are like on the new exam, explain why there's still limited ending questions that we mentioned in the first video, and show you how to answer them using human-based semi-real examples without going off topic, just like how we described in the second video. So this video stands on its own. We'll add another layer, that is how to use the same structure when the questions are about trends, society, or the future. Based on the official materials and several paid ETS practice tests, the 4 interview questions follow a fairly stable arc. I'll describe the types here in my own words without using the exact official wording. In the first half of the interview, the question 1 and question 2, you'll almost always see 2 kinds of prompts. One, a question about what people around you like to do. For example, this is a paraphrased version. What kinds of activities your family and friends enjoy? Or what people in your country usually do in their free time related to the topic. For example, sports, reading, eating, hobbies, relaxing after work. 2, a question about how or with whom you do something or what you would recommend. For example, choosing between doing an activity alone or with others, choosing between 2 styles, planning versus being spontaneous, quiet versus noisy, or give simple advice to a friend or family members who wants to start that activity. In my own real test, the patterns are the same. So across Q1 and Q2 together, you almost always bump into what do people like to do and how do they do it alone with others, which style, what would you recommend? For these 2 questions, you're mainly in sort of a me mode. My habits, my preference, my experiences with other people, my recommendation for other people, my observation of other people. So question 3 is a little bit different or can be a little bit different. Question 3 usually moves to a future or a bigger picture version of the topic. Typical meaning, in the future, will this activity become more common or more popular than it is now? Or is this activity really necessary or more worthwhile than the alternatives? Examples of topic types, again, not the exact questions, I don't want to get penalized by ETS, include whether a certain type of travel, diet, or work style will become more common, whether people will choose a certain habit more in the future, or whether it is truly necessary for people to do something a certain way. So Q3 is basically, in the future, will this activity become more popular or more necessary? And this is the limited ending that we're talking about in the second video. The limited ending is future popularity or necessity of that activity. You need to address that. Question 4 is usually a value question in the form, does X really improve Y, or can other activities or factors do the same? They can look like Whether doing something alone is especially important for someone's mental or physical well-being. Whether, say, traveling is really essential for building confidence. Whether an activity is especially good for productivity or efficiency, or whether certain habits are essential for your mindset, happiness, or well-being. So Q4 is often like this: is this activity is essential or uniquely powerful for this particular result? Health, confidence, mindset, happiness, well-being, or can other things also achieve the same result? And here, the limited ending is the benefit itself. You need to talk about how this activity makes you confident, productive, have a positive mindset, happy, or gain better, I don't know, status. So little thing that I want to remind you: the AI scoring algorithm doesn't care whether your example is real or hypothetical. Examples are for you, not for the AI scoring algorithm. You should choose the style that helps you speak for 4 to 5 seconds clearly, fluently, and with good grammar. The commenter mentioned a question like, should governments prioritize funding for public parks? I haven't seen that exact sentence in the paid mock tests that I've tried, and of course in the actual exam that I participated in. But public or government style questions are definitely possible, I think, in the future. And they already existed in the old TOEFL Task 1 independent questions. Let's use a similar question. Some people believe that local governments should invest more money in building public parks. Do you agree or disagree? At first, this looks very policy or abstract. But if you look carefully, can you still give a personal example about how the government building something like this can benefit the people, you and me, in a certain way that we care about every single day? For example, can you say something like, statement, I agree that local governments should invest more money in public parks because if they invest in these parks, people's physical well-being or mental well-being will be improved. And then you can give your semi-real example. For example, a few years ago, my city government built a public park near my neighborhood. Before that, most people just stayed indoors after work and felt tired and stressed. After the park opened, many residents began walking there in the evening. Children played together and older people did light exercise. And I also started going there when I needed to clear my mind after a long day. I just like walking in the park. So clearly, this park made everyone's life more relaxing and healthier. This is still a human level example, but it clearly answers the public question because all public questions impact individuals, right? So even on a government style question like this, you are still doing statement, reason, semi-real example, if you want to. Again, the AI doesn't care whether it's semi-real, hypothetical, as long as you can speak for 45 minutes nonstop, accurately, fluently. Now, let's look at a future trend question. It can happen in question 3. Imagine a similar question. Recently, many people have started using AI tools to help with writing. For example, when drafting emails or checking grammar or writing scripts for their teaching videos. Do you think that in the future, more people will use AI for writing tasks? Why or why not? Some people think that for future questions, you definitely don't have an example in the past. So you can't answer with semi-real questions. You must invent a completely hypothetical situation in the future. But in real life, when we talk about the future, we normally argue like this, right? We predict about the future based on an example that has happened now. And then we connect it back to the prediction. This is still valid for TOEFL. For example, statement, I think in the future, many more people will use AI tools for writing. Reason? Because AI can make writing less stressful, which helps boost its future popularity. First, your statement, I think in the future, many more people will use AI tools for writing. So the limited ending will be future usefulness for AI for writing. Reason? Because AI can make writing less stressful. That's the reason. And then the semi-real present-based example. For example, one of my classmates has told me that she started using an AI writing assistant when she prepares formal English emails. She writes a first draft more quickly, runs it through the AI tool, and then the AI automatically corrects her grammar and word use. As a result, she doesn't have to worry about making mistakes when she writes. This makes her feel less stressed about writing. And then you connect the example back to the future trend. And more people are telling me similar stories, which is why I believe AI-assisted writing will only become more popular in the future. So here again, the ending is limited. You have to talk about future popularity of AI-assisted writing. Your example comes from the present, but you use it as an evidence to explain your prediction about the future. This is normal human reasoning, right? Also, these future trend and general belief questions are not completely new. In the old TOEFL independent test 1, we already had questions that asked whether something is essential for success or happiness, whether a habit improves life, or whether a trend will continue in the future. The new interview questions are actually a little bit more simplified. The language is a bit easier and the topics are closer to daily lives. And underneath, the main parts of the grading criteria are essentially the same. Once again, topic development, delivery, or language use, although the scoring system itself is a little bit different. Another 2 little reminders. Based on the paid mock tests I've used with students, you do not need to speak extremely fast anymore. No more 100 words per minute and above. If you are speaking at, say, 100, 110, 120, 130 words per minute, you're okay. And another thing is that even if to a teacher's year or your own year, your topic development is not perfectly logical sometimes, you can still reach a perfect score. So the goal is not to deliver a perfect university-style argument. The goal is to answer the questions. I'm like repeating myself like a broken record. It's to answer the question clearly, speak fluently, use mostly accurate grammar, and keep your response organized for the full 45 seconds. Hypothetical, semi-real example, it doesn't matter. Whichever way that helps you speak. So let's put this into simple rules for question 3 and 4. All right, looking back, the first video focused on the general patterns of the questions and introduced the idea of limited and unlimited ending. The second video focused on how you can build hypothetical or semi-real example to answer so that you can speak continuously for 45 seconds. And this third video adds another layer, how to use the same course structure when the questions are about trends, society, or the future, without giving up the power of a semi-real human-based example. Once again, nobody cares if it's real or if it's hypothetical or if it's semi-real. Okay. To the person who wrote the long comment, thank you. You helped me see what many students are worried about. And to you, if you're watching, once you see that question 3 and 4 are following these predictable patterns, they stop feeling mysterious and your brain can keep talking for 45 seconds without freezing.